Go into a quiet room, turn off the fan, put your phone down, stop moving. Now wait. At first, it feels peaceful. Then something strange happens. The silence does not stay silent. You hear a tiny buzz, a high-pitched ring, a hum behind the walls. Maybe your own breathing gets louder. Maybe your heartbeat starts acting like it paid rent in your ears. And suddenly, the room feels less empty, almost like the silence is not a lack of sound. It is a sound of its own. But here is the weird part. Silence is not always something outside you. Sometimes silence is what happens when your brain has nothing better to listen to. And when the world stops making noise, your brain starts looking for some. Most of us think hearing is simple. Simple. Sounds happen, your ears catch it, your brain hears it. Nice little delivery service, like DoorDash, but for vibrations. Except your brain is not a passive listener. Your brain is more like a suspicious security guard. It is constantly asking, what was that? Where did it come from? Is it important? Can I ignore it? Is it danger? Is it the fridge? Is it my neighbor moving furniture at 2 a.m. again? Your ears collect vibrations from the world, but your brain decides what those vibrations mean. That decision never stops, even in silence, especially in silence. Because to your nervous system, silence is not just calm. Silence can also mean missing information. And missing information makes the brain nervous. Think about it. For most of human history, a quiet environment was not automatically safe. A forest going quiet could mean a predator nearby. A house going quiet could mean something changed. A person going quiet could mean something is wrong. Your brain evolved in a world where sound mattered. Cracking branches, footsteps, voices, water, wind, animals, threats. So when there is nothing to hear, the brain does not always relax. Sometimes it turns up the volume, not outside, inside. This is called neural gain. Basically, when the input gets weak, the brain may increase its sensitivity, like turning up the brightness on a dark photo or turn up the volume on a song that is barely playing. The problem is, when you turn up the volume enough, you also amplify the static. That tiny ringing you never noticed during the day, now it has a stage. That faint electrical hum from a charger, now it sounds dramatic. Your breathing, main character. Your heartbeat, drum solo. Your stomach, apparently composing jazz. Silence does not create all these things from nothing. It reveals what noise usually covers. During the day, your world is packed with sound. Cars, voices, AC, music, notifications, your own footsteps, your own thoughts trying to narrate your life like a documentary no one asked for. All of that noise masks the tiny sounds. But when the room gets quiet, the background disappears and the small things step forward. This is why some people say silence feels loud. Because silence is not empty. Silence is space. And the moment space opens up, your brain starts filling it. There are real places designed to be extremely quiet. Anechoic chambers, rooms built to absorb echoes. No normal room bounce, no familiar reverb, no outside noise. And people often report that in those rooms, their own body becomes weirdly loud. Heartbeat, breathing, joints, clothing, sometimes even the blood moving near the ears. Not because the room is haunted, although honestly, if a room lets me hear my own organs, I am leaving a respectfully 1-star review. But because the usual sound of the world is gone. The brain is left with the body, and your body is not silent. You're alive. Alive is noisy. Now, there is another layer. Your brain predicts sounds. It does not wait for the world like a polite student. It guesses what should happen next. When you hear someone speak, your brain predicts the next words. When a song pauses, your brain expects the beat to return. When you walk through your house, your brain expects familiar hums, creaks, airflow, tiny patterns. So when sound disappears, your brain still has expectations. It is like walking into a room and the furniture is gone. Nothing attacked you, but your brain still goes, hold on, where is everything? That mismatch can feel uncomfortable. Silence can feel wrong because the brain expected a world with texture, a world with audio edges, a world with little cues that say, you hear, this room is normal, nothing strange is happening. Take those cues away, and your brain starts scanning, and the scanning makes you notice more, and noticing more makes the silence feel louder. This is also why silence at night feels different from silence in the afternoon. In the afternoon, quiet can feel peaceful. At night, quiet can feel suspicious. Same sound level, different brain state. At night, you're tired. The lights are low. The world is less predictable. Your body is trying to sleep, but your brain still has one employee working overtime. And that employee is dramatic. A tiny pipe sound becomes someone is in the wall. A floor creak becomes this is how the movie starts. A random ringing in your ear becomes have I always had this? Was this here yesterday? Is my ear launching a podcast? The more you focus on it, the louder it can seem. Attention is a volume knob, not always literally, but perceptually. What you attend to becomes stronger in your experience. If I say notice your breathing, suddenly you notice it. If I say notice your tongue in your mouth, now your tongue has entered the chat. If I say listen for a high pitched sound in the room, your brain may start searching. And when the brain searches hard enough, it may find something, a real sound, a body sound, a memory of sound, or just neural noise that's usually stayed below awareness. This is one reason quiet can become uncomfortable, not because silence is attacking you, because attention is circling the silence of the flashlight, and the longer it circles, the more it finds. This is where tinnitus enters the story. Tinnitus is when someone hears ringing, buzzing, hissing, or other sounds without an obvious external source. For some people, it is brief and mild. For others, it can be persistent and deeply frustrating. And if someone suddenly develops ringing, hearing loss, dizziness, or ear pain, that is something to get checked by a medical professional. But the important point for this video is quiet makes internal sounds easier to notice. That is why many people notice ringing most at night. During the day, life hides it. At night, silence hands it to a microphone. Rude, but efficient. And there is something almost philosophical about that. Because we treat silence like nothing. But silence is not nothing. Silence is what reveals things normally buried. It reveals the room, it reveals the body, it reveals the brain's hunger for patterns, and sometimes it reveals how uncomfortable we are when the world stops distracting us. Maybe that is why people sleep with fans, or rain sounds, or ocean sounds, or random 10-hour videos called brown noise for deep sleep, which sounds like a rejected superhero but somehow works. We are not always trying to hear something beautiful. Sometimes we just need a soft sound to give the brain a floor to stand on. A fan says, here, this is the background, stop searching. Rain says, nothing is missing, this is just the texture. White noise says, please stop turning every tiny sound into an investigation. It gives the brain a blanket. And maybe that is why total silence can feel exposed. In silence, there is nowhere for the mind to hide. The room gets quieter, so you get louder, your body gets louder, your thoughts get louder. Your little unfinished worries crawl out wearing tiny business suits like, do you have a moment to discuss everything you avoided today? And suddenly, silence is not peaceful. It is crowded. But that does not mean silence is bad. Silence can be beautiful. It can reset you. It can make you notice things you normally miss. The hum of your house, the rhythm of your breath, the fact that your brain is constantly building your world second by second. Silence is not empty. Silence is a mirror for hearing. It shows you how much of listening is not sound. It is attention, prediction, memory, fear, comfort, expectation. Your ears bring the signal, your brain brings the story. So the next time you sit in a quiet room and the silence starts buzzing, do not immediately assume the room is strange. Maybe the room finally stopped talking and your brain could not handle the awkward pause. Because the truth is, you do not just hear the world, you hear your brain trying to understand the world. And when the world gives it nothing, it may still whisper something back. So here's the question: if silence can become loud inside your own head, how much of what you hear every day is sound, and how much is your brain refusing to let the world stay empty?